It's 1991, and if you want puppet shows, Groo the Wanderer has you covered. Hi, I'm Darren, these are my hands, and this is GrooTube, where we appreciate the art of Sergio Aragonés. In the last video, I started going through all the Groo comics in 1991. I went through half of them, the first 5, because I didn't realize that there are 12 months in a year. So, in part 2, we've got 7 comics to get through. And if you like puppets, we got puppets. Did I mention puppets? So starting in June, we've got issue number 78, 79 in July, 80 in August, 81 in September, 82 in October, 83 in November, and issue number 84 in December of 1991. We'll start at the beginning, we'll work our way to the end, and because we've got these 4 Legend of Thais comics, Thais, I think we'll be able to fit these into a reasonable amount of time. Here we go. Issue number 78, The Book Burners. Look at the cover. There's a pile of books burning. There's Groo getting ready to roast a lizard. And Weaver and Scribe are up here, and they're looking quite distraught. Sometimes when Sergio draws billowing smoke, he draws nice puffy things. Sometimes he draws the dark, acrid smoke of doom, like he has here with all sorts of, not quite hatching, but line marks all over the place. I like that, looks really good. I like the twisting flames, and Tom has done a great job of coloring them there. These people look so excited to burn the books on the cover. Good cover. While the king is at war, his censor takes his own war against violence. I think we get a little peek at Stan's wife and child in this comic down here, a little Easter egg for us. Seeing Groo slay a man after holding Weaver's book, the censor assumes that reading this book causes Groo's violence. Does everybody who has a toothbrush mustache look like Hitler or Charlie Chaplin? Now, we hate it when people get thrown in the dungeon, except we love it because it always looks so good. I love how Sergio draws dungeons. I love how he shades things, how he really uses contrast, and he uses hatching to show the darkness, the dimness, the light in the middle. I think Tom does a great job of coloring these sort of scenes. Dungeons, caves, mines, those are some of my very favorite drawings in Groo the Wanderer comics. Time for a puppet show. Puppets, puppets. Whack, whack, whack. The censor starts a campaign to ban and then burn all the books in the kingdom, while the prime minister seeks to overthrow the king. When the king returns from war, he learns why the books are being banned. In a trial, the censor tries to prove that reading books made Groo violent. This is a special page right here. Groo trying to read a book. The backgrounds are either non-existent or very minimal. He's letting the drawings of Groo tell the story and make us laugh. The eyes, the tongue. There's that noodly finger scratch in his head again. You don't get stuff like this in every comic, so you got to enjoy it when you do. Groo must admit that he cannot read. The censor and the prime ministers get theirs, and Groo leaves in search of a puppet show. Those who would protect you from words would protect you from your right to think. This is one of the first overtly issue-based comics that Sergio has drawn. Yes, I know he has always had a moral in his comics, but this one is really on the nose. And I kind of wonder if perhaps this has something to do with Mark's increasing involvement in perhaps plotting, scripting the stories. I don't know for sure. This is just a suspicion. I like the fact that Sergio wants to create comics that have a message, and I understand his desire to do that. He's always had the morals. There has often been a lesson to learn. Every once in a while he gets a little bit heavy-handed, and maybe he has done so in The Book Burners. Issue 79, The Monks of Mojan. Mojan. I've done an entire episode on this comic, so we'll just look at it quickly. It's a great cover, though, don't you think? Groo upside down in the air, being bested by one of these monks and his staff. Beautiful castle. Groo seeks a free meal at the monastery, but the lineup is so long that he offers his help to some traveling monks in exchange for food. But they are well versed in the martial arts and do not need Groo. Yet They are captured, but it is a ruse to get into the king's castle. I've said it before, I'll probably say it again. That is a good-looking Groo. And he is just so happy to be in a fray. Check out the dungeons. Everything that I said in last issue applies to this one too. Beautiful artwork, wonderful coloring. I love this stuff. I'm sure you do too. There, the elder monk is attempting to broker peace with the king, but Groo accidentally attacks the king's soldiers and another group of monks. Unknown, a rival group of evil monks seeks to continue hostilities. Classic Groo. And as the king's forces attack the monastery, they return in violence. Groo does not know who to fight, so Groo fights them all. The end of a battle is not the same thing as peace. I think in last episode, I was settling towards either Rufferto's Magic Wish or The Mines of Minas as my favorite comic from 1991. Has that changed? I don't think it has yet. The Book Burners and the Monks here are great comics. I think we're going to have to keep on looking at other ones, though. So here we have The Legend of Thais, Part 1 of 4, 2, 3, and 4 of 4. And yes, Thais, Aais, 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 Thaiis. Mistakes get made. Not a big deal. Still a great miniseries. A 4-part miniseries. Let's start with the cover of Part 1, where we have a little girl smacking Groo in the shin with a stick. A simple, bold cover stands out on the newsstand, and it certainly piques our curiosity as to who this little girl is and why she's beating up Groo. If you don't know it yet, I love me some Groo dinosaurs, so a Groo dinosaur caravan, sign me up. You've always got to appreciate a gag told simply through visuals. Groo takes a job guarding a caravan but quits when it enters the domain of the Plutos. The sage begins to tell the story of when Groo was tasked with guarding the life of young Princess Thais from the dead king's evil sister. Does every man that Sergio draws who has a strong chin, big bushy mustache, and a bit of a ponytail kind of look like Sergio to you? Just a little bit, maybe? Groo led her into the forest where she was apparently kidnapped by small furry men. I do like me a good beehive on the head joke. They're the Ewoks. No, they're not. They're the Plutos. This was years ago, and as the caravan marches on, we see the grown-up Thais in a tree watching the caravan pass. How about this cover? A young woman archer clearly could have put that arrow through Groo's head. Instead, she slips it right under his nose. Who is this warrior woman? This cover makes me want to open it up and find out. And it wouldn't be a miniseries without an introduction from Sergio. In Part 2, Thais is robbing the caravan when the sage tells her that Groo is nearby. She wishes to meet up with Groo and lets the caravan continue. I do like these 4 panels of Thais down at the bottom here. Scared at the noises of the night. The sage continues telling the story of how the forest dwarves taught Thais how to survive in the forest. Not quite a full page, but a wonderful large panel of the Plutos to become a skilled warrior and self-sufficient. Was this Tom's choice to keep the color to the middle of the panel and just use muted tones on the outside? Very effective. Groo was charged to attack King Feroz, which would surely get him killed. There's our cover panel, the part of the story that is taken to become the cover of the whole comic. He finds young Thais and mistakenly delivers Thais to Feroz, who imprisons her in the dungeon. Back in real life, the grown Thais finds Groo in the forest. Part 3 of 4, no, that's not a crease in the cover, that's Thais's bowstring. And this is a Sergio introduction. That's a creepy head. It's just a mask. In Part 3, Sage continues the story where he tries to free Thais from the dungeon of Feroz. Poor Mulch. But Tropas won't pay the ransom. Where is Groo going? So Groo and the Plutos work together to free Thais and Mulch, but Groo is shot by arrows and left to rot in the dungeon. Oh no! Is Groo really dying in the king's dungeon? Well, of course not, because he's still alive in the future. Back in real life, Groo and Thais are ambushed by Tropaz and Feroz's armies. And here in the Groograms, Mark Evanier notes that yes, we know the name of Thais was spelt wrong on the cover of the first 3 parts. We know. And then, my fault, sorry, I thought I was keeping with the whole Groo program. The other Mark, MM. So it appears that Marcus McLaurin, the editor, is taking responsibility for that mistake. So when Mark says that it's better not to have an editor on Groo the Wanderer, well, maybe this is case in point. Part 4 of 4, The Legend of Thais, a classy Sergio introduction. Now, is it just me, or is this nicer paper? Nicer printing. In Part 4, the conclusion, as Sage continues telling the story, Thais tries to convince the Plutos to help her rescue Groo. Bobby Orr, Eric Lindros, go hockey, Canada. Eric put on a helmet. Actually, that's Bobby. Cam Neely, Matt Sundin, Paul Coffey. These are all names that I recognize. Dying Groo in the dungeon. Really nice artwork, too. Wow. It almost makes you feel feelings looking at this stuff. The sage wants to rescue Mulch and gets himself thrown in Feroz's dungeon to save Mulch and Groo. I don't think that Tom intended for Groo's eye to be left white, but it actually does kind of look good. It's almost like his eyes are rolled back there. Creepy. Sage heals Groo while Thais gains entrance by masquerading as Queen Tropaz. Look at this glossy paper in the middle of the book. Somebody's paying big money for that. The 3 escape and Thais goes to the forest to be with the Plutos. I love a good silhouette of Groo in a fray. It's just so funny looking. And another neat time-lapse large panel here, like we had a couple issues ago. In the contemporary world, the Plutos ambush Feroz and Tropaz's armies, rescuing Groo and Thais, who ascends to the throne while Groo wanders off, trying to remember the little girl he was supposed to find in the forest. All hail Queen Thais. Yep, it's a good one. Wow, this really is an epic story. The Legend of Thais. It was really neat to see Sergio introduce a new character and see her grow as Sage told the story. Was it a story that could have been told in 1 or 2 comics? Maybe. Was it appropriate for a miniseries? I think so. 4? And here we come to issue number 84, The Puppeteers. This is definitely a favorite in my household, and I'm sure in yours as well. Close your ears and your eyes if you don't want to know where the hidden message is. In The Puppeteers, Groo enters a town with a puppet show. He enjoys the show, but wants to see the puppets hit each other in the head. How do they get those people into that little box? Hit him in the head. Hit him in the head. Hit him in the head. I said hit him in the head. The Puppeteers refuse to lower their art. I still think he should hit him in the head. But a rival puppet show arrives, and at Groo's suggestion, I hope someone gets hit in the head. Hit him in the head. Hit him in the head. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Have a more violent show. More. Show more hitting. Apparently, I find this joke really funny. While Groo won't pay for the show, he will extort the local inn for coppins to pay the Puppeteers. Hit him in the head. Man, check out the size of Groo's nose here. Instead, they turn the payment into a commercial. Soon, everyone wants to buy commercials in both puppet shows. Rufferto knows it's better to be living life, though. People spend all their time watching the shows and the advertisements. These puppets have to be caricatures of people that Sergio knows, right? Like, is this Bill Gaines? Is this the usual gang of idiots from Mad? Hit him in the head. Wow, check out Groo here. He almost looks like Alice Cooper a bit, eh? But the sunrise, the hatching, the colors, and those eyes. People spend all their time watching the shows and the advertisements. Hit him in the head. Your life is the greatest show of all. Do not let anyone else direct. So again, The Puppeteers is a really on-the-nose, issues-based comic. TV, or just mindless entertainment as a substitute for real life. Being so heavy-handed about it, I think would normally put me off, but man alive, seeing Groo enjoy himself, loving the hit him in the head over and over again, I really like this one a lot. Is it the best issue of 1991? Or is it The Mines of Minas? Or is it Rufferto's Magic Wish? It's hard for me to decide. As far as character development goes, sure, it's the Rufferto story. As far as a really unique premise for a story, it's got to be The Mines of Minos. I laughed more at The Puppeteers than any other comic in 1991. So maybe this is the best one. I'm not going to make a decision. You tell me what you think your favorite Groo comic is from 1991 down in the comments. And while you're at it, please make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications so that you'll know when I'm back very soon with another GrooTube. Thanks for hanging out with me. May I pick your nose?